Hey everybody, happy Monday. So I wanted to do Money Monday today and just start offering this on a weekly basis so we can just be totally transparent, because I feel like all of us in our own way are trying to achieve the same goal, which is turn what we currently have into more. So I have accumulated a lot of knowledge. I have some background in a couple different niches of business, and I am an open book. I just want to support you guys, and as I continue to level up, I want you to come with me. So I don't want anybody left behind who doesn't want to be, which means that I will answer any questions you have and share anything I can about my life experience to help you get wherever you want to be. I'm not trying to help anybody get where I am, because not everybody wants to go where I'm going. So really just trying to give you the foreground and the advice, the learnings that I've had to help you elevate like I am. So what I'm going to do is just kind of give you the background today of kind of like what I would consider my journey to getting here. And then I'm going to discuss a couple of the questions that I got today on my stories, where I was asking just like, what do you guys want to know about money? Because while I have all of this information, I don't know what you don't know. So if you don't ask, then I don't know. So I'm going to give it like a baseline here, offer up what I've been through, what I've experienced, and then I'll answer some of the questions that I got. And feel free to ask more questions in the chat. So to really where I would consider it starting is after I finished school, like most people, I got a 9-to-5 job. And I was working a pretty decent job, honestly. Like we were still, it was like somewhat hybrid. We were in office most days, but I had a really good management team. The work that I was doing was meaningful. I really liked the program that I was a part of. My job wasn't necessarily hard, and I was able to excel easily. Like I didn't have to work too hard to, go great lengths. So it was all cool, but somehow I was still dissatisfied. So I was pretty much being like haunted by the idea of working a 9-to-5 forever, and what I would consider working to death, like literally working until I can't work anymore. And the idea of that was really like frightening to me. And then in addition to that, knowing that I liked my job was actually even more frightening to me, because I'm like, if I'm already doing something that I don't hate, like I don't hate it here, it's fine, and I'm still feeling this way, then what is going to resolve this? And what I realized is that it's like I'm spending all my time working for money, and then I have no time to actually enjoy that money. But if I don't work this job, then I'm going to be stressed all the time and basically living in full time in survival mode. That just was not working. So when I tell y'all I used to shed tears, I used to be in tears because I was so unhappy at the thought of just that being my only option. Okay, because that was the way my mindset was set up was that I just thought that hard work equaled money, and that was that. But now I understand that that is not the case. So what I did to change that situation is not what I would recommend people do now. So I took my path, and I learned from it, and now I recommend people do something a little bit different. But I will tell you about what I chose to do. So while I was at that job, I was like, this is not going to work. I have to do something to make a change. So one day at work, I pulled out a piece of paper, and I made a line across, and I made 3 columns down. And the first column was all the things that I love to do. And when I say love to do, I'm not talking like professionally, just love to do. What do I have fun doing? I think I had like laughing on there, eating, like what do I just enjoy doing? In the next column, I put things that I consider myself highly skilled at. So now we're not considering enjoyment. We're just like, what am I just good at? Like what things do I get high praises for? What's easy for me to do? And then in the third column, I put the things that I'm really knowledgeable about. So the difference between knowledge and skill is that you can know a lot about something and not be very good at it, okay? So it's like you could understand a lot of things about writing, you could understand grammar, but not be able to apply it. So that's the difference about making that column for skill. So now I have these 3 columns. What do I like to do? What am I really good at doing? And what do I know a lot about? And then I cross-referenced all 3 of those, and I circled the one that matched all of them. And then I started a business of my own based on one that was in all 3 of the columns, okay? So this is a method that I would highly recommend for anybody, because that actually is what allowed me to leave my job. And I think from the time I made that list, I left like 6 or 7 months later, which isn't that long. So making that list allowed me to identify like, okay, how can I make money doing something that I don't hate, that's easy for me to do, that I already know a lot about? And that should be your goal. How can you find something that you actually enjoy, you're good at, you already know a lot about, you don't have to go become an expert, and start earning income based on that? So like I said, I made that goal to myself that I was going to make enough. I made a goal to myself that I was going to have enough money to pay the bills that I had for a full year. I think it was 6 months or a year, but I think I said a year. And then I would be able to leave my job. So once I had enough in my account to do that, then I typed up and printed my letter of resignation at my job using work supplies. And then I took it over to my boss and I just let her know, like, I'm on my way out. And then I started that business, okay? So that business actually did really, really well. I was doing that business for like a year after I was marketing. It was easy again, because remember, I'm good at it. I already knew a lot and I'm highly skilled at it. So I started just continuing that business, and it actually grew to great lengths. And so that was really good. The issue, which was with me, is that I'm going to say had, because I've been practicing my way out of this. I had a really hard time focusing. So anytime I would hear of something, I'd be like, oh, that sounds like a good opportunity. And then I would try to make that work. And I would hear something else. Oh, this person's making money doing that. Let me try to do that and make money doing that too. Because I thought that if other people were making money doing it, I'm intelligent, I'm, successful, I can do that. But what I didn't realize is that basically I was becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. I had mastered nothing. It had been over a year and I hadn't mastered anything, because I was trying to become a jack of literally every trade. And I thought that that was a compliment. I thought that was a good thing, until I realized that the people who make things work focus in on that one thing. And the analogy that I love for that is the bucket analogy that Alex Hormozi uses, where he just talks about how like one bucket is one business and there's a bunch of holes in it, right? And those are all of the things that you need to figure out, learn, educate yourself about the business to make it work. And then you have a water hose in that bucket, and that's your energy. And so you're pouring all of this energy into the bucket, but it's not all staying in the bucket and filling it up it's not optimizing, because there are holes that you still need to patch. And instead of spending your time and energy patching those holes, you pick up another bucket. And when he said that, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, that's me. That was literally me. I had just bucket. And what I had to learn is that almost everything is an opportunity, but some things are an opportunity to say no. And so once I finally realized that, took me a while, I was able to really harness that focus and understand the power of my focus and how that could actually help me, because I was ending up just like frustrated, upset. I'm trying all these things and none of them work. And that translates a little bit into kind of today's energy about like side hustles. When people are like, none of these work, this doesn't work. No, it doesn't work for you because you didn't focus long enough on it. Right? So it's not that all of these like side hustles don't work. It's that they're side hustles to you. You're not making it you're not actually hustling. You're not actually working for that thing. And I remember when I started that same business that allowed me to quit the job, and I told my dad one day, we were talking on the phone, and I told him, this is such a good side hustle. And he was like, don't call it that. And in the moment I was like, what? He was like, don't call it a side hustle. It's a business. Don't call it that. And in the moment, I didn't really have full clarity, but now I understand so much the real significance of what he was saying. That wasn't a side hustle. That was a business, and it should be treated as such, because it wasn't something that I was just picking up, I'm picking up those are side hustles, things that you do on the side that you're not really paying that much attention to. This was a business, as should the thing that you start be. It should be a business. So, that was a huge lesson for me in understanding that, it's not that these things don't work, it's that they don't work for me and they don't work for whoever's saying that, because they're not applying the focus that's necessary in order to see that thing come to fruition. So instead of picking up 10 buckets, pick up 1 or 2. I'm recommending you pick up 2. And the first bucket that you pick up shouldn't have any holes in it, because that's your corporate position. They got it figured out. You're an employee. You don't really have to you're not a part of that. You're there to fill that spot and be compensated for the work that you provide. The other bucket that you should pick up should be what you actually want to be your full-time source of income. And I'm really doing what I can to help you guys understand that can be anything. I feel like people are still in the mindset of, if I like to do this, I have to find a place that offers positions in that, and how much do they pay? Nope, we're not worried about who offers what or what kind of audience goes toward what. We're talking about what you want to do, and then finding a way that you can offer that to the public and fill a need. Okay, and there's a way to do that regardless of what your passion is, what you love to do. There's a way to do it. So I'm a huge proponent of that, finding what you actually want to do and turning it into preferably an online business, because I just feel like who wouldn't want to be wherever they want to be whenever. So that's what I help you do, is figure out what that business can be for you. But back to the story, I started that business. I left the job. Everything was going well, but I couldn't focus. Over time, when I finally understood the power of focus, I was able to shift my mindset, because remember before I was terrified of this 9-to-5 concept and working till I die. And what I needed to do was shift the mindset. I was surrounded by people who hated their jobs, and I'm talking young people who just got hired, and what's the word that I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Just older people who had been at their position for a long time, and hated it as well. So I thought that was my only option. I thought jobs are to be hated, right? And because I had that belief, that was all that was available to me, because that's how I saw the world. So once I was able to change my perspective and understand that that's really not how it operates, I can have what I want, and just establish that belief, I made another list. And I've manifested pretty much everything I have, including where I live, with lists. But I made another list, and on this list, I just wrote down line by line, what do I want from a position? Because at this time, I'm full-time entrepreneur, which is awesome, but then you don't have guaranteed pay. You don't have benefits. There are certain things that would be nice to have, that would make the situation a little bit more comfortable. So it was like me debating between, well, do I want to work till I die in a 9-to-5, or do I want to be in survival mode all the time working for myself? That was what I saw as the options. Those aren't the only options. So I made this list, and with my new beliefs of understanding that I could have more. And a friend also helped me understand that my corporate position that I like, that I hopefully like, can actually be what funds what I actually want to do. And once I was able, that was the key. He said it to me time and time again, but just for some reason, one day I was ready to hear it. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, I don't have to be unhappy. I don't have to hate the way that I earn money. So on this list, I wrote down what I wanted this position to look like. I'm like, okay, just dream freely. Well, I would like to be remote. And then I wrote /hybrid, because I'm thinking, if I'm remote work, I probably won't go anywhere. So it wouldn't be bad to talk to people. I wrote down the annual pay that I wanted. And I wrote down a bigger number after, because limited mindset. And then I wrote down kind of what management style I like. Like, I prefer macro management. I don't want someone like hovering over me at all times. I'm an efficient worker. I will get it done. And then I also wrote down just like flexibility, maybe not having to be on the same like super structured schedule every day, stuff like that. I just defined it. I wrote down what I wanted from the position. I wrote, I want to work with people who I'm well aligned with, I resonate with. And y'all, when I tell you, I think I don't know how long it was after I made that list, but it wasn't long. Less than a month later, I was called. So the job that I have, I didn't apply for it. I didn't even see it listed, anything. I was called. They reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I called and set up an interview, and the job hit every single checkpoint. I was earning more than I wrote down on the paper. The time was flexible. It's a hybrid position with really great people, doing something that actually feeds into my personal aspirations, which is, I also recommend find something that actually feeds into the thing you want to do. That way, when you're at your corporate job, you're learning things that will help you make your passion more successful, right? It's like the cheat code. So yeah, and then that's how I got it. And so now, all of that to say, where I'm currently at now is in a super, super happy and comfortable position. So at this point in my life, I've saved over $15,000. So when I say saved over $15,000, I'm not saying that like there's $15,000 in my bank. I'm saying that I have a separate savings account. This is not including like checkings, investment, anything. I have a separate savings account with over $15,000 in it. And that's not to spend. That's just pure savings. And that might not be a lot of money to some people, but I know that there are people who have resources, properties, all kind of stuff, who have never saved that much money. So regardless of what that means to you. Like I said, we're all looking to make what we currently have more, and these are just the ways that I did it. So having that savings is something that like I really couldn't have even like processed at that time. And now I have new and bigger goals that I really couldn't see myself having at that time, right? Another thing is that I do own my own vehicle. So I own my car. I have actually never had a car note. So I've never had a car payment, but it's nice that I don't have a car payment now because I do drive a new vehicle. So no car note. What else? I have $0 in debt. And I do not have a credit card. So that might be something, I know the other day people were saying that something they struggle with is wealth management, financial planning. Let's get you out of that credit card. Credit cards are actually very beneficial and helpful, and we are fortunate in this country to have access to credit because I don't know if you know, but other countries don't have that. You can't just use money that you don't have. But here you can, and it is a good thing when you're being intentional about it, but it's something that I believe is good for growing your wealth, not for getting to the wealth, right? So might want to put that aside and we can talk about that another day, but I don't have a credit card. I don't have any debt. I own my vehicle, so no car note. And I think the only other thing is that I have like a comfortable lifestyle. It's not like I have no car note, I have no debt, and I'm miserable. I have a very comfortable lifestyle. I was able to, live where I want to live, drive what I want to drive, work where I want to work, create what I want to create. And most importantly, I'm happy. So I think that is the most important thing. Sometimes we achieve the mental well-being, but we don't. Sometimes we achieve the mental well-being, but we don't have the financial stability, or vice versa. We're doing really well financially, but we have not found that path to mental well-being. So I'm luckily very balanced, and have been able to do both, and fortunate to be super happy. And I believe that everybody can have the same that I have, and the only thing standing in the way every single time, it doesn't matter if you look like me, sound like me, do what I do, or all opposites, we're all dealing with limiting beliefs and a mindset that's telling us for whatever reason we're not worthy of having whatever we're reaching for. So that's what I do. I'm helping people shift that mindset and implement a strategy to create and align with the life that they actually want to live and deserve. Okay, so that's the story. That's really it. I was asked a couple questions today, so I'm just gonna cover a couple of them because they were asked on a story, and it's a little bit challenging to like give a real genuine answer in text. So I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna answer a couple of those questions, and then I will head on out of here. And then just remember that every Monday we are doing Money Mondays. So I will put up the question poll on my story. You can ask any questions. If I'm not comfortable, I'll just let you know, but no one's ever asked anything that I was not willing to answer. I'm really not about gatekeeping, and I want everyone to rise. So let me see what the questions were today. So the first question I got was, I want to leave my job, but I don't want to earn less. And that is a limiting belief that if you leave your job, that you will earn less. That's just simply not the case. So I would say make the list like I did, identify the things that you want about this new position that you don't currently have, and then remain focused on them. And you'll be surprised by the people and opportunities that start to flow in that match whatever it is that you're looking for. So you don't have to leave and earn less. I think it's really important to be financially compensated for the work that you're doing, provide value, and also satisfied with where you're at. So while I told you earlier that you should have that corporate position, and then you should have that passion project that you want to be your main source of income, you should still like the corporate position. You should like it. So if you don't like it, I do recommend transitioning out of it, but don't leave while you're pissed off. Don't leave while you're angry, because it's very unlikely that you're ever going to go somewhere good from feeling bad somewhere bad, okay? So what you're going to do where you're currently at is find all of the things that you can appreciate about it, and every day you're going to have to focus on theirs so that you can align with something better. Otherwise, you're going to leave that terrible, miserable job for another terrible, miserable job that's just a new space with different faces, and you don't want that. So change that belief. You don't have to, if you move, you don't have to earn less. You'll probably enjoy it more and earn more, and your work is going to be even better and more valuable because you actually like doing it, okay? So I would, like I said, recommend going ahead and making that shift. Get a new position where you'll be satisfied and financially compensated for the work that you're doing. The next question that I got was, they said, I love that you want everyone to win. Of course I do. I do not want to eat alone. I'm trying to have a full table, okay? As many as they can see. First off, where to start and what decisions to make. So your starting point is going to have a lot to do with where you currently are. So it's a little bit challenging for me to speak to, obviously, your specific situation. But what I would say is, regardless of where you're at, make a list. I'm a big list person because pen and paper bring a lot of power to your creativity and actually creating the life on paper that you want to live. So I'm not telling you like write a 4-page story. It's literally just a list. Keep scratch paper around, keep sticky notes, make a list. So I would write down the aspects of your life that tell you, that narrate where you're currently at. So if you want to be subject specific, you can. Like if it's a relationship, you're looking for someone to love, or if it's a school you want to go to or a city you want to move to, that's fine. Or you can just be very general and just talk about your life. But I would go ahead and get that pen and paper and write down the aspects of your life that are currently going on. Like I'm uncomfortable where I work. I love my friends. I don't have a very good relationship with this person. I want to be in love, whatever it is. Like, you know, all the things that say, you know, they're not all bad and they're not all good. It's just truths about, or your truths about where you're currently at. And then I would make next to it a list of where you want all of those things to be. So they're going to be on that same line, just a little bit spaced over. You're going to write, okay, well, I don't have a very good relationship with this person. I would prefer this. This list is your preferences, all of the things that you would prefer over what you're currently living, right? And then you're going to do this a second time, and you're not doing the whole exercise over again. Just that column you just finished with, preferences, do it again. Because I promise, even after hearing me say this, whatever you wrote in that second column, you wrote with your limiting beliefs. You're still thinking, well, I can't have this and it can't be this way because of this. And you're being the resistance to what you're trying to have and who you're trying to be. So do it again. Now in your third column, you're going to write real preferences. And you're going to write down the things that you would genuinely prefer with no constraints. Act like like you are limitless, because you are. And once you start believing that, you will start to see it reflected in your life. But for now, you are where you are. So we're going to go based off where you are. But let's identify and let's dream as big as we possibly can. And then when you get to that point, you can dream even bigger. Okay, so make those columns. That would be the best starting point, I would say, is just you have to identify what it is that you're looking for. Because if you just start where you're at now and you're like, I want life to be better. And you're like, I'm just going to wait. I want it to be better. I hope it gets better. It's like, where are you going? Where are you going though? What things do you want to be better, and what does better mean? Where are you at now, and what would be better than what you currently have? Where do you want to be, right? So you're going to have to input a destination into the GPS in order to press go. If you don't do that, you're just on a map, right? So that's the first step, is like, go ahead and identify where you're at, where you're going, and do that for yourself so that you can really put it in front of you, where you're headed. Okay. The last question that I'm gonna go over, I got, did you buy a used car off of someone, or did you pay for a used car? Actually, neither. I own a brand new vehicle fresh off the lot. So I purchased my car from a dealership. So earlier I was saying, like, I own my vehicle. I'd never had a car note. I have purchased vehicles in the past from used cars from owners, and I highly recommend going that route. I very highly recommend going that route, because that's what allowed me to today own my new vehicle. So there's actually a funny story, and I'll just end it here with telling you guys this, but I moved cities. I used to live in Washington, and then when I was moving to Georgia, I had to sell the car that I had there, and that was a used vehicle that I bought from someone. So again, recommend doing that. I had to sell that car, right? So I sold the car, and then I moved to Georgia. And when I got to Georgia, I was feeling, I remember, kind of sad, because the car that I had in Washington, it had a sunroof, and I loved having a sunroof, but I didn't really realize how much I loved it until I lost it. And sometimes it's like that. So when I got here, I was driving this car. It was a small, like a Ford Focus, right? And so I'm driving, and I love that car, but every day I was like, man, like I really would like to have a sunroof. I would love to have a sunroof. I would love to have a sunroof. And so I'm driving my car around, and I'm thinking, daily, like, oh, it would be so nice. And I'm telling somebody one day, I'm like, I just really wish I had a sunroof. And she was like, oh, you know that you can add one. You can pay to have one put into your car, and it's only like $700, whatever. how much ever she said. Whatever she said, I was shocked because I, first of all, didn't know that you could add a sunroof to a car. And if someone told me that, I would definitely expect it to be like, I don't know, $5,000, maybe more. And maybe she doesn't know the price, so chill if you know that it costs more than that. But she was basically telling me, you can just add that. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna manifest this sunroof. Maybe one day for like Christmas or my birthday, I'll just splurge and I'll go install a sunroof into my car, right? And so I'm working on this not having a limited mindset, and I'm like, yes, I can have this. It can come to me in any sort of way, right? And so one day I get in a car accident. Okay, my first car accident, I fell asleep behind the wheel. I was not under the influence of anything but pure exhaustion because I was overworking myself. And I thought that hard work equaled money. So I was just working day and night trying to achieve these goals. But I was actually working in reverse without realizing it because I was exhausting myself doing things that I didn't love, right? So just pure exhaustion, and I fell asleep and I got in an accident and I totaled the car. Luckily, I was okay. I'm very minor, lasting but minor. I had very minor injuries, so I was okay. And do you know what happened? A couple months before that, my dad had really told me, he was like, pay for the whatever it's called, the comprehensive insurance, pay for the good insurance, pay for the good insurance. I finally paid for the good insurance, all for this moment for me to have this accident and them to fully cover the vehicle. And you know what they replaced the vehicle with? A car with a sunroof. Okay, so I got my sunroof in like kind of the most comical way, without getting hurt, without having to spend anything, without having to do those things. And to me, that was a huge lesson. Like, yes, car accidents aren't fun, okay? So I'm not trying to make it sound like they're fun, but I'm just saying that life is a journey. And, sometimes it's better to look at things instead of like, oh, this was so terrible. It's like, no, everybody was okay. No one got hurt. And I got a sunroof. So it's like things can come to you in really mysterious ways. So it's really just about calming down and enjoying the journey, because the only thing that really came out of that was an experience. Now I can share with people what happened. I learned a lot about not exhausting myself on things that, were not really aligned with who I am and my goal. And I also learned to rest. I learned that I was not resting. I had no sense or definition of relaxation or stopping or just having fun doing something that wasn't work. And so I learned that lesson. I learned that I have to rest. It's crucial. It is imperative to succeeding. You have to slow down. You have to relax. You have to rest. So I learned a lot of lessons from that experience, and I got my sunroof out of it. So that was, like I said, huge just representation of manifestation, and how if I don't control how it has to come to me, if I'm not like, the only way for it to come is if I buy it for myself and at Christmas I pay for it. What if I put it in at Christmas and I still wreck the car? Then it's like, so just being open, choose what you want, identify what you want, and then trust that it can come to you, and don't try to be in control of the way that it comes. It's like when you get in a car, you don't sit in the car and think about, I wonder how the tires turn, and I wonder how the engine runs, and I wonder how everything in here operates. No, you just plug in the destination, you drive, and you trust all of those systems to do their job. That's not your job. That's not your work. Your work is to point in the direction of what you want and go. That's it. It's so much easier than we make it. And I'm not really sure where or how we got to this place of thinking that we have to work hard. The harder, the better. That's just simply not true. In any case, it's not true. The easier, the better. The more fun, the better. The more joyful, the better. Because whatever you're trying to call into your experience is easy and joyful and fun. So if you're not already on that energy, how are you going to match up with things that match it, right? So that's really all. That's been my journey, and it's been a super fun one. Like I said, on Mondays, I'm going to focus on just wealth, investment, money. If you guys have any questions, I'm always an open book to each and every one of you, because yes, I do want to get to the top, and I want you to come with me. So it's all love and only up from here.